projects under their belt, ranging from video games, audiobooks, even radio. And you may know them as the voices of Princess Peach, Toad, and Bowser. I want to welcome Kenny James and Samantha Kelly to the stage.
Woo! So amazing.
Hi. Is it on yet? Is it
on?
Is this thing on?
Wow. Okay.
Hey, mine
hi.
hurts.
Yay!
So how are you both doing today?
Really good. It's our first time in Cincinnati area, and so we have had a blast. And everyone's been super nice. I love the cosplays. Yeah, this is great.
Somebody said I'd been here before, but I don't remember being here before. We did Columbus, or I did Columbus, but I don't remember being in Cincinnati before. Or Sharonville.
Maybe you were really sleepy when you were here.
You weren't here at all. I don't know.
Nothing. I'm a bad boy.
So tell me, what got you both into acting, and not only that, like voice acting?
I like showing off.
Okay.
I mean, why not? I was one of those kids, typical, well, maybe not typical, a lot of kids are shy, but I used to like to goof off in class a lot, voices back, in those days I was doing the Looney Tunes stuff and, cartoon voices, and was one of those kids that was always getting harped on by the teacher. Kenneth, knock it off, and I'm all, oh. Now I'm not a good boy, I'm a bad boy. But it just went from there, and even when I got older, I did time on submarines. I did time, it makes it sound like I was in prison. I was on submarines, and one time we were loading torpedoes, and we were between weapons, and one of the guys on the torpedo loading party, I was doing something bizarre. And he goes, "You're too strange to be human." He goes, "You should be a cartoon character." And I said, "That's one of the coolest things anybody's ever said to me." And it was years later before I even thought about it. I didn't start acting until I was 40. But I just wanted to do it. I think I rambled enough there. I happened to do that. See, I won't stop talking.
I'm the opposite of Kenny. I was really shy as a kid, like painfully shy. Even where I couldn't speak. I don't think I spoke until 7th grade. And what I like about acting is that you can put on, it's like cosplay, you can put on something that's different from yourself, and it gives you a space in which to be something different than maybe how you feel. And then it becomes. And so for me, voice acting is great because nobody's looking at you, and you can just be as big and crazy as you want to be. And so that's been the very freeing part about voice acting for me.
That's great. That's a great answer.
I love that they told you should be a cartoon character.
I know.
I often forget that story though. And it's one of the shorter stories that I have because I can ramble on about stuff for too long because I digress.
And as you got into acting, was there anybody who inspired you? I'm sure Kenny, Dennis Hopper from the '98 film, of course, probably did.
Yeah, no, I was in the right place at the right time. It was just chance. Working my day job that I had then. Here it comes, right? I used to sell propane and propane accessories, I'll tell you what.
Oh my gosh.
And that's all true.
You really did.
Yeah, I was a propane service tech for Suburban Propane for like 13 years. But while I was working, I had taken a class at University of Washington, and the guy who taught the class produced a demo for me, so I had a demo in hand. If I hadn't had a demo made, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. Because one of the customers happened to be a producer at the studio that Nintendo uses in Seattle. And she goes, "Oh, I hear you talking about doing voice work." I said, "I'm trying to get going." And she goes, "Well, I'm a part-time producer of Bad Animals." And I was all like, "Oh, that's cute." And she's like, "Do you have a demo?" That was the second thing out of her mouth. And I said, as a matter of fact, I do. Gave her the web address for my demo. She listened to it. Her 14-year-old listened to it. They went, yep, there's something there. They sent it over to the studio and they started sending me auditions. And when they recast Bowser, I auditioned for it. But I wouldn't, if I hadn't had that demo, I would have never gotten that audition.
Right place, right time.
Right place at the right time.
That's so cool.
It could happen to you.
It actually could. You know, it's organic. We always have people come up to us and go, how do I get into voice acting, or how do I start doing this? And it is really, you can't do the equation. It just kind of, it all comes. For me, I started in radio, so I was being kind of like an intern overnight at radio stations and doing dubbing in commercials. And they would all have them on the name of the studio in Seattle. I wasn't living in Seattle, I was living in a small town in Washington. And it said the studio that produced all these commercials, and it was Bad Animals, which is the studio that records all of Nintendo stuff. And I always dreamed, well, wow, that must be amazing and big. And then I just kept doing voice work, and I was doing commercials. I got an agent, and they sent me an audition. I had no idea what it was, and they said, can you do this voice? Yeah! And I said, yeah! And then they said, can you do this voice? Yeah! And I said, yay! And they said, okay, you know, and so then I got hired to do that, but it was really, like Kenny, who could equal that? I don't really know how you suddenly get to do it.
Now, getting, you know, you did some auditions for Nintendo, and when you got the call that you got the, you know, roles, is that kind of like, how was that? Was that like a, oh my gosh, I'm part of Nintendo?
Well, it was bizarre too that when I auditioned for it, they sent me Scott's tracks. He was Bowser in Super Mario Sunshine. And so the audition itself, I thought they wanted a voice match for Scott. So I did my best Scott Burns impersonation. You know, I was like, Mario, how dare you disrupt my family vacation?
Oh my God.
And I guess I nailed it, but I didn't even get a call. I just got an email. It was just an email, and all it said basically was, you got the job. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Which audition was this for?
Which job?
You know, I was like, okay, all right. But there was no thing in my head that was all like, all right, I'm going to be instantly like rich or popular or anything. And I continued to work my propane job for probably more than 10 years after I got this part. You know, so, because no, there's not any money involved in it really. So.
But it's fun.
But it's fun.
That's so cool.
And we get to come out here and do this, which is even more fun than record. Well, recording is a chore. And it's funny you said Bad Animals where they record all that stuff, and it's like, no, it's not, because I can tell you for a fact I went somewhere else. But anyway, what was the question? See, this is what happens to me. It's not my fault. I'm like, squirrel.
What was it like to get the call to get in with Nintendo? To be like,
yeah.
Nintendo.
Oh no, I think I did answer that. I was all like, I wasn't really. I was shocked.
You answered that. Yeah.
I was shocked, but it just was all like, okay, well, I got to get up and go to work the next day. But I was faking my way through it. I had been in a recording studio doing music, but I had never done any voice work in a studio like that. So I walked in there like I'm the big cheese, you know? I'm like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I had no idea what I was doing. So fake it till you make it, as they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah. And for me, I hadn't played the games, and so I didn't know what that was when I did those voices. And then when I got the word that I was doing it, I went out and I got Mario Kart and the Nintendo Wii and played it, you know, after that. And loved it. It was so amazing, and I always think I'm really glad I didn't know what that was, because it probably would have thrown me, you know. But the fact that I just kind of innocently went in and did it maybe made me do a better job than I would have done. I would have been pretty intimidated. I'm grateful, and you never know too, like how many more you're gonna do. Like I started in 2007, and you did too, or 2005, around there.
Yeah, I have to correct you every time.
I started in 2005. He's correcting me.
We both started about the same time, yeah.
It's you just don't know. At first you think I'm just doing a project. This will be one thing, and now 79 games? You know, wow. A lot of games.
Wow.
Yeah, you actually probably have more game credits than I do.
Do you have
got your own
any
game.
games that you found like just more fun to do than others? Like, I'm sure they were all fun, but
To voice
To
or
voice,
to
yeah.
My favorite is the one that I just did, the Showtime. I don't know if
Princess Peach
anyone's
Showtime.
gotten to see that yet. It's really, that one was
Princess
really
Peach
fun.
got her own game.
Yay! Hooray!
Sure, that's great.
Aw.
That's fabulous.
Yep, Bowser's Fury, right?
Hey, I had Bowser's Inside Story, and that's why I jumped on you last weekend, because I was like, what is this with this Showtime thing? That's my line. You know,
Yeah.
but you didn't name the game, and I understand why it's called Showtime.
Oh.
Bowser's Inside Story, he says Showtime. That's my line.
Isn't it sweet when Bowser gets really sad? I mean, like,
Oh. I love it.
Have you, did you, when you go in, they give you a new game or new work or anything, are there any challenges that you find yourself facing as you're, like Showtime, like, ooh, Princess Peach has her own game. Is it like a big challenges that you have?
it was really fun. I mean, for that one, because they have so many transformations of Peach, that they wanted to have a kind of different nuance to each character and even a little bit of a different voice. And so they coached me in that direction. And so that was fun, but it was very creative. Like, in this moment, this is what Ninja Peach is going to sound like,
Yeah.
or this is what Sword Fighter Peach will sound like. And then just trying to set that in so that it was consistent across each character, because you don't want it to slip out.
Yeah.
And then for Wonder, which we just recorded fairly recently too, the biggest challenge for me was Toad. At one point, there's a fall where he falls, and I think it's for like 10 seconds or something. And so they said, we just want you to scream like Toad is falling for 10 seconds.
That's all.
That was interesting.
Yeah, give us an
I
A and
seriously,
B on that.
I didn't know if I could do it. Yeah, I did it. And then they're like, oh, can we do that again? And I was going,
Oh
oh,
my
no, I
God.
don't know. I don't know if I could do that again. Because 10 seconds screaming like Toad that's something. But that's about it. That's about the only time that where I really felt like, whoa. And it worked. You know, we got there. But for a second,
How long are your sessions typically?
4 hours usually.
Yeah, they only record me 2 hours at a time
Be quiet.
because it's hurty.
Hurt your voice.
Yeah, it actually gets pretty raspy. So 2 hours. So instead of taking a couple of days to record something, it takes me 4 days. So
Okay.
but that's fine. I was in the hotel the rest of the time going, what am I doing? I should go
Drinking
to
water.
I should go to Super Nintendo World, and then I was all like, no, wait. They wanted like $109 to get in the door.
Oh, wow.
I was all like, no, thank you.
And I want to ask you, I mean, we got obviously the Super Mario Brothers movie last year, the animated movie. Did you get to work with any of the actors like Jack Black or Keegan-Michael Key or?
No, that one was totally separate from
Okay.
us. So I did get to go see it, which I
Okay.
loved it, but I
I
didn't.
didn't know if you got
get
to
work with
coach
it.
them at all. Like, Peach should sound like
No,
this.
they just took it and ran with it, and I thought it turned out pretty great. I loved it. He hasn't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it.
He's a little bitter, just a little.
But fans have been like telling me that they're like, you're in there in the background. And they played me things on their phone where it's a clip from the movie. And they're like, listen to this real close. And I'm all listening to it, and I'm like, yeah, it sounds like me. But they own the tracks, so they can do it.
Okay.
They can do with what they want, yes. Or something like that. But they could have at least given me an additional, voices credit. But, I can't prove that it's me.
I feel like I'm opening a wound
It's a
here.
little bitter.
Like,
I was trying to warn you away from that whole conversation. It's okay, Kenny.
we'll move back to the games. You got any? Do you have any fun behind the scenes stories? You said you're a storyteller, so I'm sure you have some. And then what I'm going to do after this, I'm going to see if any of the fans have any questions for you, because they're here to see you, not me talk to you.
I have my ad-lib story from Mario Kart Wii. I think that was my second recording session. We did Mario Kart Wii and Galaxy in the same session.
Wow.
So that was before they were being more careful with my voice. They were just all like, all right, we got you booked for 4 hours today, and I was
Don't
all
until
like,
you can't anymore.
I was like, yeah, I could do that. Oh, I'm always telling them, I'm like, you want to get it done quicker? I can get it done quicker. They're like, we don't want to hurt you.
No.
And I'm like, okay, I like it better that way. But Mario Kart Wii, when you win a race as Bowser, you know, he does this thing, his little celebration thing.
Yeah.
He's not even
Yeah.
holding on to the steering wheel anymore.
He's still turning corners.
And they just said, give us a bunch of celebratory nonsense. So I'm just doing all the standard stuff. And I just ran out of stuff. They didn't tell me to stop, so I just kept doing stuff. And one of the things that I did was go, and because I just ran out of stuff. And they put it in the game. And I had no idea until I was actually playing it. So I was actually playing it at home and I win this race. And he's just going, and I went, no way. I was like, they put that in there? That's awesome. So
That's so cool.
that may revive itself again too. I can't say. Maybe.
I did when we were recording for Showtime. When I was getting ready to go, I felt a little nervous because I'm still kind of more of a shy person, probably. And for me, I don't know if you feel this way, but every time I go in, I think, can I do this? Do I know how to do this? And it's when you get in and then you start doing it, of course I do. But at first, it feels intimidating.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, my dad made for me a magic wand out of wood, like a Harry Potter wand or whatever. And I had it, and I thought, I'm gonna take my magic wand with me. So I put it in my bag, and then when we were doing recording, and at a certain time, they said, we're gonna do this new character. It's called Sword Fighter Peach. And I was like, ha! And I grabbed the wand, and so then I started using it like a sword, and it really helped me to get some of that feeling for it. And then they did the spy Peach, who was supposed to slide down like a zip line or whatever. She's holding on to something and sliding down. So I just grabbed the wand and pretended like I was sliding down, and it was so cool. Like the part behind it, that wand helped me a lot.
That's awesome.
You
So
had to act out the scene.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Does anybody out there have questions that you want to ask them? Here, I'm gonna hop down. I'm gonna grab a mic. Hop down.
I need to think.
I had a mic once, but the wheel fell off.
Did you have any favorite cartoons growing up?
I was all about Scooby-Doo and anything Looney Tunes, all that kind of jazz. Woody Woodpecker. I mean, the old stuff, because I was born in '63, so those cartoons are a lot older than I am. Well, except for Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo started in '69, but that was my jam. And then Saturday mornings, I wound up being quite a fan of Land of the Lost, stuff like that. It's not a cartoon. I mean, sort of, but you know, it was mostly Looney Tunes and stuff, though. Just the goofy stuff.
I like Disney princesses a lot, all princesses, and so like Little Mermaid and things like that. Jodie Benson, who voiced Little Mermaid. The amazing thing is we've actually gotten to go to cons where we're sitting near her, and I'm so starstruck just because she sounds like that. Or Paige O'Hara, you know, as Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and I just love all of the princesses. Those were my favorites. But as far as voice acting for versatility, I think Jim Cummings is amazing. When I met him in person, I started crying because he could, when he did the voices, it reminded me of something that was so special to me.
I kept doing the jigger thing during a recording session.
Yeah, Jim Cummings.
Because sometimes
That wasn't annoying.
sometimes they'll be like, all right, we're gonna check those, and they just leave me standing there, and I'm like, okay, so I'm starting to go, doing these noises and stuff, and then I'd just be like, and the engineer's looking at me, and I'm like, and it you know, meanwhile, Japan is going, like, what's wrong with this guy?
A lot of times, because Nintendo Japan is overseeing our work, we'll end up having them on Skype watching the recording session, And so sometimes we'll record like later in the day because in Japan that's early in the morning. So they're all kind of just getting their morning coffee and waking up, and they're getting up super early to be with us, and we're like later in the day
And I'm
doing
looking
a
in the
recording.
camera going,
That is hilarious.
Did you like your job?
Yes, we love our jobs. Our jobs are so fun. And so that's like my encouragement to you is if you don't know yet what your job is going to be and you're trying, you know, we did a bunch of different jobs before we got these jobs. And so you just never know. If you just put your whole heart into what you're doing and you keep pursuing the things that you love, eventually your exact job finds you.
and hopefully it'll be something you like to do. I've had jobs that I did not like, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And then hopefully, like she said, you'll find something that you really love, and hopefully you get to keep doing that forever and ever.
Yeah, and we get to come out here and meet you, so that's one of the most fun things about our jobs.
Yeah, that's actually a very fabulous dress you have on there.
How long did it take on Princess Peach?
Not bad.
How long did it take on Princess Peach Showtime?
Showtime, yeah, because that whole game was dedicated to Peach, it probably took total about 2 months. We record for, you know, four or so hours a day and for maybe 4 days a week. We did it in 2 chunks. We did one big, about a month-long session, and then we took a break and they made all their changes and had some different ideas and some of it, and so then we came back and did another couple weeks at least. So yeah, a month and a half to 2 months probably. And that's just my work. I mean, you imagine in those games what it took to put the whole thing together. And sometimes I think about the editors who have to sit there and listen to every single sound and decide which sound is the one that we're going to choose. You know, is it Bowser doing his excited sound
Yeah,
or his sad sound?
I've already done that. I've done those.
He's
and
done.
it's-
Yeah.
I don't know. If you look at the credits when a game is done, a lot of people don't sit through the credits because why? But there are so many people involved in putting together a game. It just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And you're like, God. You know.
Yeah. How many people here would be ever eventually interested in designing games or doing something with games? A couple, yeah. So there's so many areas. I mean, whether you're an artist or you're a director or designer or you do music or whatever or voice acting. There's so many things. Even writing. We've met some writers as well who came up with a storyline, and there's jobs in it. It's just as you start pursuing what you love, it may actually track you down too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your favorite and least favorite projects to work on?
Favorite and least favorite project? Favorite and least favorite project to work on.
Wow.
So you gotta pick one.
I don't know. I think mine is all combined into one. 3D World. I really liked doing Mouser, but I hated doing Mouser. Mouser was hard. Mouser hurt, but I thought it turned out good. So it's both my favorite and least favorite at the same time. But I still love Galaxy. Galaxy is one of my favorites. Voice-wise, I don't really care. I mean, there's a lot of Bowser in it, so that's cool. But I just liked the game mechanics on Galaxy a lot too. I need to replay that. I keep saying it.
Galaxy is one of my favorites. It's fun.
But my Wii looks like garbage on my TV because it doesn't have any RCA inputs, and those HDMI converter things don't work. They're terrible. Awful, I say.
Thanks for that question. So my favorite project was Showtime. That was my favorite. I also liked doing the voices for
I'm
Peach
gonna ask
at.
if they ever recorded like a session.
I have a story about Bowser coming up. I also like doing the voices for Peach at Universal Studios at the Super Mario World. Was really fun. My least favorite project was probably one that didn't have anything to do with Nintendo. I used to do a lot of voices for corporate videos, and I was the voice for a company, a cybersecurity company called Veritas, and I would do all their instructional things. And I'm not a computer person, and so I would be reading the input of the blah, 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 you know, and it was all this smart, amazing stuff, and I would have to sound like I knew what that was as I was saying it, and so my brain would just go, ah! I would hold a pen and a clipboard just so I'd feel super smart while I was doing it, but that was probably the most challenging.
I'm an anime guy now too, so there. A lot of people don't know that.
He moved to Texas so he could do anime and be close to where your studio, right? Animation?
Crunchyroll now. Yeah, I moved for that. And then I was in Pacific Northwest last weekend and I was all like, oh yeah, I forgot I really like it here. I was sad.
Well, next, do you enjoy doing anime? I mean, it's a whole different side of the world, right?
It's the Forrest Gump box of chocolates of voice acting because you never know what you're going to get. And I don't know. Sometimes I've never heard of the show. They just say, are you available for this? Yeah, I'll do it. You go in there and they're like, okay, see that guy? Yeah, that's you. Ready, go.
They don't tell you like, hey, we kind of want him to sound like this. It's like, here's your guy.
Pretty much, we'll listen to the Japanese version first. So I try to at least give it some of the attitude and a little of the voice tone of the Japanese actor, because it's their thing first, you know. So that's best I can do, and then you have a director that's going to tweak it. You know, they're going to steer you one way or the other, and be all like, do that again, but better. It's the best direction in the world.
Just out of curiosity, how do they compensate the voice talents in video games and stuff? They do it in royalty type, or how do they use and handle on compensating their talent?
No residuals.
It's just a payment that they'll make. Like they'll pay us hourly for however many hours we put in, and then that's it. So we don't get royalties off the game, except for to enjoy them, and then to also come out and hang out with you guys.
I drive a Kia Soul, an old one.
Anybody else have any questions for Kenny or Samantha? A couple back there. Really quick, as you're doing like any other projects or not just Nintendo, have you ever had sometimes like your voices kind of meld into one another? Like, oh, you stop as you're recording and be like, no, that sounds too much like this. I need to change this. Can we re-record that?
That happens for me sometimes when we're doing a lot of recording with Peach and Toad. Like sometimes I'll get too much Toad into Peach or too much Peach in Toad, but not for other projects. Other projects are very clearly, for me, set in my regular voice or different voice.
Yeah, I've had some anime parts where they were like, okay, you're gonna be this big vicious boar. It's called the Mountain God, and he was pissed. And I had to do a lot of snorting and stuff, but there was occasions where I'd be all like snorting and going, and then I would go, and I went, that sounds very Bowser-y. You know, let me do that again. You know, try something that doesn't sound so much like Bowser. But there was also a wolf that I did, a big mean wolf, and he sounded pretty Bowser-y. But I was just at that point going, I don't know what else I could do, because that kind of sound is locked into my head. You know, it's don't even know where it comes from. It's just in here somewhere. There's a little tiny person in there going, don't know how it works. Don't question it.
Is there a project that you guys really want to work on? Maybe it's something new that you haven't done before, or something for like Bowser, Peach, or Toad that you haven't gotten to do?
You know, if there's a Red Dead 3, I'd like to be in that. That would be great. I can do that. I think I could give a pretty good accent, and I definitely could shoot people. Probably. I grew up in Texas, so yeah, I can do that. But that would be cool. But I like doing any voice work. I mean, I've done really boring stuff, just like she's talking about. You know, I once upon a time, one of the things that I remember was I used to tell people, it's like, oh yeah, I used to interrupt your Spotify playlist, you know, telling you about uses for Post-it notes.
Oh no.
I don't even know if they're still running that, probably not, but it was all like, yeah, here's use number 24, you know, for a Post-it note. I don't remember any of them, but sorry for interrupting your Spotify playlist though.
I think it's the idea of using your voice to convey something. And how many people here do voice work or try to do voice stuff? It's something that our goal, no matter what we're doing, whether it's a corporate video or an audio book or if it's a character, that we're trying to just put your whole heart into it. And if you say it as if you mean it with everything in you, then it's fun for you and it's fun for whoever listens, for the most part. Of course, there are projects the one that, I mean, I was so happy they did a Peach game because I've been waiting for a really long time for that. So I feel like my dream was answered with Showtime just recently. Kenny is a little bit insecure. Is that what would you say?
I'm jealous.
Jealous? He's
Jelly.
jelly. He's a little jelly. You've got a whole bunch of cool projects.
Bowser game.
You've got so many cool projects, and there is probably, who would want to see a Bowser game? Would you guys want to?
Yeah.
Yes! Yeah, we would love to see a Bowser game. So
I will let my throat bleed for you.
Can't you wait to see Mermaid Bowser?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
hey, I've worn a mermaid thing on stage before, so
forget I said that.
yeah, it was
It's just a
pretty.
bad visual right now.
We all looked really strange.
All right, we're moving on.
Next question.
It was Peter and the Starcatcher.
Is there
Mermaids.
any game that you would consider quintessentially Bowser or Peach?
Any game that you
I don't know, Bowser's kind of one-dimensional, so all things Bowser are Bowser. There's no minus Bowser or plus Bowser, I don't think. He just is what he is. I did, going back to 3D World again, I mean, there's kind of a plus sign on that because of the power-up, the cat power-up, which was really strange to do, but other than that, I don't think so. Not for me. What about you?
I liked doing Peach in Smash Brothers because, here you're showing Peach as having some skills, even though she's still lovely in the parasol and everything, that I've had so many dudes come up to the table and go, I can win with her at Smash every time. And I just like it when she goes, oh, did I win? Or she says, ha-cha! And I just like her little fierceness, and then I like how that she's kind of, with this Showtime game, she's allowed to show more parts of her personality and just be stronger. So yeah,